Alright, so you're thinking about moving to Fremont, California and wondering what the cost of living here is like. Well, this video is all about the cost here in Fremont, California, so stay tuned. What's up everybody, this is Maneesha right here in Fremont, California. If this is the first time you're in my channel and you want to know everything there is to know about living in Fremont, including what it's like to live in Fremont, what's the cost to live here in Fremont, what the top neighborhoods are, which areas to avoid, then click the subscribe button and tap on the little bell button so that you're notified every time I drop in a new video. Honestly, my team and I, we get so many calls from people who are looking to move here, relocate here, and we absolutely love doing it. So if you're thinking of relocating, moving, or just staying here in anywhere in Bay Area, California, do give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, or ping us on WhatsApp or Signal. However you can get hold of us when it comes to moving here to Fremont, California, or anywhere in Bay Area, California, we've got your back. In this video we are going to talk about cost of living, comprising of various costs like housing costs, renting costs, utilities cost, and cost of groceries, and cost for transportation. So let's get started with the cost. Let's start with housing, because housing anywhere is always the biggest component of the cost of living, and especially when it comes to California, the cost of living is what is much higher than when you compare against the cost of housing in any other state across the country. So currently in the United States, the median home cost is about $240,000. That in California is about $550,000, and that in Fremont is $125,000 or $1.125 million. In a little bit, I'm going to compare Fremont against other cities here in Bay Area, California. But right now, let's compare what it looks across the cities, how Fremont fares against the other cities in the US. So yes, we are costly by more than $1 million, about 5 times the national average. But when you talk about other cities in California, like say San Francisco, right here at 4th, or Oakland at 5, or other cities in California like Los Angeles, that's figuring at 13, San Diego at 19, Irvine at 21. Now Fremont is much cheaper than living in any of these other Californian cities. And then if you compare Fremont against cities that's in the east, that's like New York, that's figuring out at 2nd, and then you have Queens in New York, Boston, Seattle, Washington DC, Jersey City, St. Paul in Minneapolis, and Minneapolis, Chicago, Philadelphia. All of these cities are much more costlier to live in than in Fremont. Fremont figures out at 31st. We are much cheaper than when it comes to cost of living when you compare it against Tampa, San Jose, Sacramento in California. And we have two cities from Oregon that's figuring in this list before Fremont, and that's Salem and Portland, and you don't even have state tax in these in the state. Alright, so we talked about owning a house. How about renting? Well, renting is actually doing crazy here in Fremont. A lot of rental prices is higher than fine, but just to let you know, if you are going to rent a studio apartment, it's going to cost about $1,900 per month. For a single bedroom, it's going to cost about $2,200 about. For a 2-bedroom, it's about $2,800. 3-bed, it's going to cost much higher, at about $3,800. And if you are looking at a 4-bedroom house, it's more than $4,500 itself. But if you look at this chart, you will see that the cost of rent in Fremont closely follows San Francisco, Oakland, Hayward metro. So if you see here, especially for the studio, 1-bed and 2-bedroom apartments, for 3 and 4, the parity is much higher, but not more than about $500. Now if you go south towards Milpitas, you will see a difference of about $500 in rent for any of these types. Alright, so we have now either bought a house or rent a house. Now what's the cost of living in that house or renting the place, right? So let's talk about the utilities. The utilities can cost anywhere about $95 to $105 per month, and that includes the water, the sewer, the garbage. And if you want to look at the internet can cost anywhere between $60 to $75 per month for average speed of about 400 Mbps. If you have liked whatever info that I have provided for you till now, please take a moment and do hit the like button for the video, so that way you're telling YouTube that you have got the value that you were looking for. It helps me grow, it helps the channel grow, that I will also know that I'm providing some value to you. Now you are living in your own house, or you're paying the rent and you're paying your monthly utilities bills. So let's now look at the cost for transportation. Fremont offers two BART stations, so with that you can go travel from Fremont to Daly City, Richmond, or Berryessa in San Jose. Now let's look at the cost there. If you are going to go to BART station with your car, then you'll have to pay a parking fee of about $3, or if you choose to bike, it's going to be free and secure parking. If you opt for a Clipper card, each trip is going to cost you about 50 cents. That's $1 per trip. Otherwise, for every adult, it's going to cost about $2.5 per trip. That's again $5 for a round trip, and it's about half price for a senior citizen or the disabled. The cost is same in other mode of public transport, that's the buses, which we call as AC transit. And the biking is really encouraged here. Just last year in 2020, the government spent about $750K in improving the bike lanes here for on a lane of about 10 miles. So if you choose neither the public transport nor biking, the gas here costs about $2.3 per gallon, and that of course depends on when you're watching this video. So I'm recording this in February 2021. So if whenever you're watching, you want to know the latest price, leave a comment below and I'll update you with the price then. So you work, and what do you work for? So that you can enjoy the incredible food scene here in Fremont, California. Outside dining costs about $50 to $60 for a family of 4, 2 adults, 2 kids, and kids meal costs about say $15 to $20. That's for mac and cheese and fries. And if you go for fine dining, then it will cost you about $90 to $100. For a family of 4. If you're going to cook meals at home, then you're going to go and grab some groceries. Now the groceries are generally on par with the California average, but when you compare that against the national average, it's higher by about $15. Alright, so when you're out and about going and buying things, you look at sticker on the item, and that's not the price that you're going to pay at the counter. California has a state tax of whopping 9.25%. So yeah, I mean, if you compare it with Oregon or neighboring state, they don't have state tax, but that's what it is. Now coming to income tax. Now I really have to look at the statistics for this, so I'm going to kind of read it from the piece of paper that I have here. The top marginal income tax here is going to be around 9.3% if you are making a combined income of over 150 to 300K per year, and if you are making about 300K to 375K, then it's about 10.3%, and it's a tax of 11.3% if your combined income is over 375K. Of course, this is all over California. This is nothing that is particular to Fremont, but that is income tax is a little hiked up here in California. Like I mentioned earlier, I looked up the top 25 most expensive cities to live in the United States, and Fremont of course figures at 31. And now let's look at the local purchase power. The local purchase power in Fremont is 122.46. If you look at this screen right here, at the list from 19 to 32, you will see that that's higher than most of the cities listed here. The one that comes close to is Irvine. They are that's just a difference of about 0.4, and then if you compare again in this screen, there's Seattle that's higher than that of Fremont, and then San Francisco comes close. We are at 122.46, and this one is at 35. So what it means is to live in these cities will cost you higher, and your purchase power is also low. And I really want to give you a very good understanding of what it's like to live here in Fremont, California. When you talk about Bay Area and California in general, we generally talk about how expensive housing is and how high the taxes are, which is true. But when it comes to Fremont in particular, you get to live in the best of the suburbs and send your kids to one of the best schools here in California, and all that at much more affordable prices, housing prices, than what you get in other cities, other suburbs here in Bay Area, California. Alright, so now let's look at the map and let's look at the differences in the cost of living in various areas here in Bay Area, California. Then you'll understand what I'm talking about. Now let's look at the map of California, the Bay Area side, and compare the cost of living in Fremont against the other suburbs, other cities in the Bay Area. So the overall cost of living is indicated by different colors here on the map. US average is 100, and at 129 we have this color, which is basically the Oakland, San Leandro, Hayward metro area. And then comes the Union City and Newark, and this is just at 179.3. And then the next color index is covered by Fremont, Milpitas, San Jose. Now the Oakland Hayward area is cheaper, but if you also look at the neighborhoods and schools, they are not as great as that of Fremont. Milpitas and San Jose, again the same thing, they don't have that. Milpitas has pretty decent schools, and San Jose, some parts of San Jose is good, some parts is not that great. So whereas in Fremont, pretty much across the city, all the neighborhoods are good. And then you have the peninsula here, and that's the cost of living across board here is much higher than in Fremont. And there are only 2 or 3 cities here but of course all the tech companies figured in this area, and you're of course close to the San Francisco airport, and that's why probably you have higher cost of living here. But then again, compare that against Fremont. With everything going virtual now, you can live in Fremont, which has great neighborhoods, great schools. So when you look at the details of cost of living across in these cities, especially that in the peninsula, which is basically the west of the bay, the cost of living is higher, and that is basically because of the higher house prices, higher rental prices. But then if you look at the details, you will also see that the average income of people who live in these suburbs is actually higher than that of any other city, even Fremont, right? Those are higher. The schools are better in a couple of places, and and the groceries, the cost almost the same, and transport cost is actually lesser than that of Fremont, because you have all the tech giants like Google, Apple, Facebook, Netflix, Intel, everyone on this side of the bay. So it really depends on what you want, what your priorities are, what you're looking for. If commute time is a big deal to you, then you will have to consider living on that side of the bay and not the east bay, because crossing over the bay is going to take you anywhere between 45 minutes to 1.5 hours easily, especially during the peak hours. Like I said, I am from Fremont, California. So if you're even thinking about relocating, moving, or even staying anywhere here in Bay Area, California, shoot us a text, send us an email, or ping us on WhatsApp or Signal, and we will help you in finding the right suburb for you, and help you choose a house in an area that really fits the lifestyle that you desire. Because there are so many suburbs and so many cities here in Bay Area, each of them has come with their own flavor. And even Fremont is made from 5 different districts, and each of these districts has its own flavor. So let me help you find the right house for you anywhere here in Bay Area, California. When it comes to moving here to Bay Area, California, we've got your back. Until next video, see you then.